ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरून् श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So we'll continue from where we left. It was third canto, second chapter, eighth shloka. Durpago batalokoyam yadavo nitaramapi ye samvat vasanto na vidur harim meena ivodupam. This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate, and even more unfortunate are the members of Yadu dynasty because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead any more than the fish could identify the moon. Purport. Uddhava lamented for the unfortunate persons of the world who could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna in spite of seeing all his transcendental godly qualities. From the very beginning of his appearance within the prison bars of King Kamsa up to his Maushala Leela. Maushala Leela means the like his pastime of leaving this world, right? Although he exhibited his potencies as the personality of God in the six opulences of wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, the foolish persons of the world could not understand that he was the Supreme Lord. Foolish persons might have thought him an extraordinary historic figure because they had no intimate touch with the Lord, but more unfortunate are the family members of the Lord, the members of Yadu dynasty. Okay, so before getting into that, we will see that this is a very important point. Many times people ask, can you show me God? If God is there, let him come in front of me and things like that. So even if that were to happen, even if if we bring Krishna in front of them, still they will not be able to understand. What's the proof? Because when Krishna personally appeared in this world, only very few could able to understand his greatness. Not everyone could able to understand his greatness. So Krishna himself tells in Bhagavad Gita, Avajanti Mahamuda Manushim Tanumashrita. So it is it is only those people who are who has some sukruti, no, they will only be able to understand the Lord. So the Mudas or the foolish people of this world, no, they cannot understand the Lord just like that. Right? So Krishna is telling that Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna. So those who have sukriti, they will be able to understand who the Supreme Lord is and render service to them and things, service to him and things like that. And it requires the sukriti, how the sukriti is God. So when a devotee of the Lord, when he when a person is coming in touch with a devotee of the Lord, and he hears a little bit about the Lord, or he takes some prasadam, or he gets some kind of a devotional touch, or if he renders some unknowing devotional service, then the Sukriti develops. And when the Sukriti is sufficient in quantity, that is when, even if the Lord comes in, straight face to face, we will be able to understand him and we will be able to recognize he is the Supreme Lord. So this initial Sukriti, that is very important. So all of you are nice devotees. So you're all chanting and you're all very sincere in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So like all of us should try to give this opportunity to people. So if we give an opportunity to people to listen to this Krishna Katha, and if we give them an opportunity to get touched by the like influence of Krishna consciousness, so then they get an opportunity to build their Sukruti, and sometime they will be able to uh, get serious in devotional service, and sometime they'll be able to understand who the Supreme Lord is. So now the contrary, or the not contrary, the opposite side, the corollary aspect of that. So even if the Supreme Lord is there right in front, a person may not understand. So the corollary of that is, even if the Supreme Lord is not there right in front of our eyes, still people can become devotees, still people can perceive him, still people can actually have an experience of the Lord, right? So all of us, we are far, far from the time of Lord Krishna's appearance. Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years before, but all of us are able to chant the names of the Lord, hear his pastimes, and feel his no presence, feel his actually influence in our life. So the physical presence doesn't necessarily mean that we will be able to understand the Lord. No, even if Lord is not there in front of us physically, still we will be able to understand by the process of devotional service. That is why the process of devotional service is more important than this opportunity to get darshan of the Lord directly, like how Arjuna had. So that is of not much of a use, no, until unless we are trained in devotional service, until unless we don't have sufficient sukruti, even if Lord comes in front of us, no, we could be like Duryodhana or Karna and people like that. So we may not be able to understand the glory of the Lord. So this like here, Uddhava is actually lamenting that the people of the world, they're very, very unfortunate. Such a great opportunity as having the personal audience and personal darshan of the Lord, and having an opportunity to render service to the Lord. All this was available when the Lord was personally present in this earth. But then, these people did not took advantage. Now the Lord has gone. So no, these people did not took advantage. Such an amazing facility they had got. No, they didn't use it. So that's the lamentation that Uddhava is telling. And then next is, he's telling that, okay, these people, they are foolish anyways. These people of this world are foolish anyways. So they did not took advantage of Lord's presence. But then more unfortunate than them are the family members of the Lord. The members of Edu dynasty, who were always in company with the Lord, but were unable to recognize him as the supreme personality of Godhead. Uddhava lamented his own fortune also, because although he knew Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead, he could not properly use the opportunity to render devotional service to the Lord. So this is a very important feeling. A devotee always feels that I have not done sufficient. I could have done something more. I could have done something better. So that hankering makes his relationship with the Lord very, very strong, right? So always it is not that, okay, I have done enough. No, whatever is needed to be done, I have done. So the Lord should be pleased with that. That's it. The business is over. So that is, if the business over kind of service if we are doing, so then it is not very intimate relationship. Intimate relationship means that how much ever service we do to the Lord, we are not satisfied. Then it is a very amazing level of devotion service. So here Uddhava was a very great devotee, but still he is regretting that I didn't do proper devotional service to the Lord. I got such an amazing opportunity to be in the association of the Lord, but I did not utilize it properly. And he regretted everyone's misfortune, including his own. Okay. So the pure devotee of Lord thinks himself most unfortunate. This is due to excessive love for the Lord, and is one of the transcendental perceptions of viraha. Viraha means separation. The suffering of separation. Okay. It is learned from the revealed scriptures that the moon was born from the milk ocean. There is a milk ocean in the upper planets, and there Lord Vishnu, who controls the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the super soul, resides as Kshira Dakashayi Vishnu. Those who do not believe in the existence of the ocean of milk, because they have experience only of the salt water in the ocean, should know that the world is also called the Go, which means the cow. The urine of a cow is salty, and according to Ayurvedic medicine, the cow's urine is very effective in treating patients suffering from liver trouble. Such patients may not have any experience of cow's milk because milk is never given to liver patients. But the liver patient may know that the cow has milk also, although he has never tasted it. Similarly, men who have experience only of this tiny planet where the saltwater ocean exists may take information from the revealed scriptures that there is also an ocean of milk, although we have never seen it. From this ocean of milk, the moon was born, but the fish in the milk ocean could not recognize that the moon was from this ocean of milk. Okay, but the fish in the milk ocean could not recognize that the moon was not another fish and was different from them. The fish took the moon to be one of them, or maybe something illuminating, but nothing more. The unfortunate persons who do not recognize Lord Krishna are like such fish. They take him to be one of them, although a little extraordinary in opulence, strength, etc. The Bhagavad Gita 9:11 confirms such foolish persons to be most unfortunate. Avajananti mam muda manusuntanum ashritam. So, like the foolish people, they think the Lord to be just like one of them, right? So that is the foolishness. Okay, text 9. Ingitajnaha puru pau पुरुप्रौदा एका रामश्च सात्वताः सात्वतां वृषभं सर्वे भूतास भूतावासं amam sata. The Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, and still they were only able to know Him as the One Supreme who dwells everywhere. Now, that is the One Supreme who dwells everywhere means like Paramatma realization. So it is not the Bhagavan realization, the highest realization. Okay, so purport. In the Vedas, it is said that the Supreme Lord or the Paramatma cannot be understood simply by strength of one's erudition or power of mental speculation. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medaya na bahuna shutena. So, like Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo. So, just by giving pravachan or lecture on the topics of the Lord, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord. Na medaya, like just by becoming a very intelligent person, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord. Na bahuna shrutena, no, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord just by studying a lot of scriptures. No, it's not possible. So that's how Kathopanishad actually um, mentions. He can be known only by one who has the mercy of the Lord. So the Lord can be known only by the grace of the Lord. That is why it's very important, either chanting or reading or any devotional service that we are doing. The primary reason why we are doing, because it is pleasing to the Lord, and we should always be begging for the mercy of the Lord. Only if you are merciful, then my heart will be purified and I will be able to render real service to you. Otherwise, now my heart is contaminated with lot of sense gratificatory desires, lot of desires to exploit this world, exploit you, my Lord. No, I just don't, I'm not coming here to do devotional service just to give pleasure to you. Actually, I want to exploit you. I have so many desires and I want to fulfill by appeasing you. No, actually, I'm coming here for exploiting you. But when will my heart will become completely purified? And then I'll think of your pleasure as the primary thing. No, like that is the way like we have to actually approach the Lord. So this is what is that? Hmm, no, one cannot understand the Lord by all this philosophical exercise and things like that and all. One has to understand the Lord by the mercy of the Lord. And when we are sincere and like simple in this way, like putting forward whatever is our material condition. I'm so contaminated in my thoughts, but then I want your mercy at any cost. No, I'm begging you, for that. So when we go in front of the Lord in that begging mood, so then the Lord will choose to reveal himself, right? So that is the only way of understanding the Lord, not by studying the scriptures and thoroughly understanding them. So thoroughly understanding the scriptures means what? To come to this point of I cannot understand the Lord without his mercy. No, that's the primary reason, primary thing, objective of the scriptures. And also to show and display the greatness of the Lord and the merciful nature of the Lord. and how lovable a person he is and things like that. So that's the purpose of the scriptures. And the practicality is that we have to kneel down in front of the Lord and beg for his mercy. Right? So the Yadavas were all exceptionally learned and experienced, but in spite of their knowing the Lord as the one who lives in everyone's heart, they could not understand that he is the original personality of Godhead. This lack of knowledge was due to their insufficient erudition. It was due to this misfortune. Um, it was due to their misfortune. In Vrindavan, however, the Lord was not even known as the Paramatma because the residents of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord and could think of him only as their object of love. And so this is the highest level of devotion. So the residents of Vrindavan, what they practiced, no, that is the highest level of devotion. So even the residents of Dwaraka, even the residents of no, all the Yadukulas, so they are not that fortunate as the Brajavasis because they had the ultimate Bhagavan realization. And here we see that the Dwaraka Vasis, they are able to see the Lord as that one person who's dwelling in everybody's heart. So in that way, the many of this is just telling the general this one of the Yadukula. No, but then there are great devotees like Uddhava and other people. No, and it's the Dwaraka is filled with many other wonderful, illustrious devotees. But they are, in comparison to the Vrajavasis, their level is very low. So Vrajavasis, they don't have the idea that the Krishna is Supreme Lord, He is the moving an entire world and things like that. Yeah, they may have that understanding, but that is overpowered by the strong feeling that He is our lovable object. Right? So they have that kind of very strong feeling of affection towards the Lord. So in that way, it is mentioned here nicely. The residents of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord and could think of him only as their object of love. Right? So this is the highest standard. They did not know that he is the personality of Godhead. The Yadus or the residents of Dwaraka, however, could know Lord Krishna as Vasudev, the super soul living everywhere, but not the Supreme Lord. Okay, somebody may say that no, Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, and no, it is very evident that no ordinary child can do this. So obviously they could have known that he is the Supreme Lord, and he, in front of their eyes, he killed so many demons. No, people could have very easily recognized, oh, he is the Supreme Lord, here is the Supreme Lord. But then their love and affection to the Lord is so overpowering that just blinds their eyes, and they cannot see how Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Now they are able to see him only as their most lovable object, right? So that is the way of the vision of the pure devotees in Vrindavan, and that's the highest standard, and that's what we are aiming at achieving, by practicing the devotional service. Okay, as scholars of Vedas, they verified the Vedic hymns Eko Devaha, and then Sarva Bhuta Divasaha, Antaryami, and Vrishninam Paradevata. So the Yadus therefore accepted Lord Krishna as the super soul incarnated in their family, and not more than that. Even that is like a huge thing. But then, in comparison to the ultimate perfection of the Vrajavasis, this is not very much. To even to have the personal association of the Lord, though as the Dwarakavasis had, that is not that much. That is like still very less than the mood and devotion that the Vrajavasis had. So Vrajavasis had Krishna's association only for 11 years. Now only a very short period of time. Considering his span of living in the earthly planet more than 125, 130 years around. So in that only 11 years they had the opportunity to be with Krishna, but they are glorified more than the this other devotees like who could able to get Krishna's association for a longer period of time. So this goes to say a longer association with Krishna, that's not a criteria for saying that he is a great devotee of the Lord. Greater exposure to Krishna or knowledge about Krishna, and nothing of these things is very important. The most important thing is how indispensable Krishna is in our lives. How much I love and feel for Krishna. How much I feel that I have to work for the pleasure of Krishna. I have to do everything for his pleasure. So that is really great. No, that kind of a mood and attitude is really great. So it is not that, no, how much of favor I've got from the Lord. No, that doesn't matter, right? So the real favor of the Lord is to have a loving disposition towards him. So that's the real favor of the Lord. No, the desire to render more and more devotional service unto him. That's the real favor of the Lord. Right? Extend devasya mayaya sprishta ye chanyad asad ashritah brahmayat brahmyathe dhir na tadbhakyay atmani uptatmanoharo. Under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by illusory energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to all evidence of the Vedas. He is accepted by all acharyas, including Sripad Sankaracharya. But when he was present in the world, different classes of men accepted him differently, and therefore their calculations of the Lord were also different. So, generally, persons who had faith in the revealed scriptures accepted the Lord as he is, and all of them merged into great bereavement when the Lord disappeared from the world. In the first canto, we have already discussed the lamentation of Arjuna and Yudhishthira, to whom the disappearance of Lord Krishna was most intolerable up to end of their lives. No, they couldn't able to. No, now we see if somebody dies in the family, no, people will lament for no, like 1 day or 2 day or something like that, and then no, then after that everything comes back to normal. So, but then for Arjuna, Yudhishthira, and all the Pandavas, for them, the moment they understood Krishna has left the planet, they renounced the world and they walked out of the home. And till the time they passed away, till the time they left the body, they were completely in distress, no, completely feeling for the separation of the Lord, no. So they were so much of feeling they were having towards the Lord. So this kind of feeling of separation and miserable condition that a devotee experiences, internally it is very blissful. No, externally it may seem to be lamentation, but then internally it is very, very blissful. So in the material world, be it happiness or no, distress, both are miserable actually. But in the spiritual consciousness, be it happiness of getting the association of the Lord, or be it the distress of being separated from him, no, both the things are very blissful to the heart, right? So it is not, that's the nature of the spiritual things. The Yadavas were only partially cognizant of the Lord, but they are also glorious because they had the opportunity to associate with the Lord, who acted as the head of their family, and they also rendered the Lord intimate service. The Yadavas and other devotees of the Lord are different from those who wrongly calculated him to be an ordinary human personality. So definitely the Yadukulavasis, they did not think of the Lord as ordinary person. They knew that he is the supreme person, but then they did not know him in complete as the Vrajavasis knew him. Such persons are certainly bewildered by the illusory energy. That's the foolish people of the world. No, they are certainly bewildered by the illusory energy. They are hellish and are envious of the Supreme Lord. The illusory energy acts very powerfully on them because in spite of their elevated mundane education, such persons are faithless and are infected with mentality of atheism. They are always very eager to establish that Krishna was an ordinary man who was killed by a hunter due to his many impious acts in plotting to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and Jarasandha, the demoniac kings of the earth. So this is how the materialistic, atheistic people will say, no, Krishna was killed by a hunter, and that is due to his sinful acts and things like that. In fact, some people even say that no, Krishna is living in the hell due to his misbehavior with so many things, like so many sinful things they tell about this one. So that's all like atheistic class of people who don't have faith in the Lord. Such persons have no faith in the statement of Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is unaffected by the reactions of work. Namam karma nilimpanti. No, Krishna says, like, I don't have any bondage of karma, right? According to the atheistic point of view, Lord Krishna's family The Yadu dynasty was vanquished due to being cursed by the Brahmanas for the sins committed by Krishna in killing the sons of Dhritarashtra, etc. All these blasphemies do not touch the heart of the devotees of the Lord because they know perfectly well what is what. Their intelligence regarding the Lord is never disturbed. But those who are disturbed by the statements of the Asuras are also condemned. This is what Uddhava meant in this verse. So if somebody is getting disturbed or somebody's devotion to Krishna is getting disturbed because of hearing some unwarranted comments like this, so that is their misfortune. They are allowing themselves to be getting distracted like that. So a true devotee of the Lord will never get distracted from the devotion to the Lord. Whatever come, be it whatever may come in front of him, he will never be disturbed in that condition. So text 11. प्रदश्या तप्त तपसाम अवितृप्त दृशाम नृणाम आद्यांतर आद्यांतर अदाद्यस्तु स्वबिंबम लोकलोचनम. Lord Shri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who were unable to see him as he is due to not executing required penance. Okay, so the Lord just disappeared from the manifest. Sorry. So Lord just disappeared from the manifest vision of the or to the vision of the people of this world. And as we had many times discussed, the Lord appears by Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. He appears by his own internal energy, and then he disappears by his own internal energy. And why does this Hunter ka episode comes? Like the Hunter episode comes because he just wants to leave a reason, for people that people who are atheistic, they also need to have something to discuss about, right? So it is but then it is completely illogical. Why? Because Bhishma, such a powerful warrior, he was fighting against Arjuna, and some of the arrows that were aimed at Arjuna were hit on Krishna also, and it was hit on the chest of Krishna, and Krishna did not die at that time. And a hunter, he pierced an arrow on the toe, on the what is it? The finger of Krishna's feet, and Krishna, because of that, he left his body. So, what is the kind of logic it is? So, just Krishna want to give some useless logic to these people. Okay, let a hunter come and hit an arrow, and there is a story for that also, like who is that hunter and what is it and things like that and all. But then the main thing over here is that it is just the reason that Krishna had created for the atheistic people to munch about. They also need something. So he just gave them something, but then he disappeared out of his own will. He appeared out of his own will and he disappeared out of his own will, right? Okay, purport. In this verse, the word avitripta drisham is most significant. The conditioned souls in the material world are all trying to satisfy their senses in various ways, but they have failed to do so because it is impossible to be satisfied by such efforts. The example of the fish on the land is very appropriate. If one takes a fish from the water and puts it on the land, it cannot be made happy by any amount of offered pleasure. The spirit soul can be happy only in the association of the supreme living being, the personality of God, and nowhere else. So the water, we are like the fish, and water is the association of the Lord. Without the association of the Lord, without the touch of the Lord, we will be miserable, like fish out of the water. How much our material happiness, material adjustments, we keep doing, all our desires are primarily thinking that, oh, I have this shortage in my material life, and if this shortage is fixed, then I'll be very, very happy in my life. That's the biggest misfortune. That's the biggest misunderstanding. How much ever we try to fulfill all our desires, it is mentioned that desires are like a forest fire. More you supply the fuel, more it'll it'll just flare up like anything. It'll just engulf everything. But then it'll never get satisfied. These desires will never get satisfied. But if we and more it burns, more we are getting the tapa of the burning of this material world. And more we are trying to fulfill the material desires. and more the material world is burning us to ashes, and not just like a charcoal. No, we are just getting burnt like that, by trying to fulfill the desires of this useless material world. So we have to try to associate with the Lord, try to develop spiritual desires, and try to serve the Lord for His pleasure. No, that is the most important thing, right? So in this way, like we can see that is like the active desire to render service to the Lord and please Him. So that is like being in the water, fish being in the water. And like if we give up the desire to serve the Lord and then try to fulfill all the material needs, that's like fish walking out of the water and trying to become satisfied with so many things that are there in the land. No, that's of no use actually. No, it requires water for its sustenance. So in the same way, like we require Krishna consciousness for our sustenance. It is not an opulence. It is not an extra star. That is our lifeline. No, Krishna consciousness is our lifeline. So, okay. So, the Lord, by His unlimited costless mercy, has innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the Brahma Jyoti sphere of spiritual world. And in that transcendental world, there is an unlimited arrangement for the unlimited pleasure of living entities. The Lord Himself comes to display His transcendental pastimes, typically represented at Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwaraka. He appears just to attract the conditioned souls back to God and back home to the eternal world. But for want of sufficient piety, the onlookers are not attracted by such pastimes of the Lord. As I mentioned, the Sukriti is required. No? Shranvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Surutsatam. So one who is able to hear the Krishna Katha, he can actually purify his heart. So, but how will he get that desire to hear Krishna Katha? No, Shushruto Shraddha Danasya Vasudeva Katharachi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vitra Punya Tirtha Nishevana. So a person has to get Sukruti by rendering service to a devotee of the Lord. No, that is when he gets some Sukruti. And with that Sukruti, he can actually get the taste for hearing about the Lord. And once he hears properly the holy name that has been chanted and the this one and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the glorification of the Lord, so then automatically, he will develop more and more desire to hear. Then Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. No Tada Rajastama Bhava Kama Lobhadayaschaye Chetayete Ranaviddam Stitam Satve Prasiddhati. Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogata Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. So in this way, like, the gradual progression right from Sukruti, developing Sukruti by rendering service to the Supreme, the devotees of the Lord, and then, constantly hearing the message of Krishna consciousness, a person progresses more and more, and he goes on to the level of, appreciating the personal presence of the Lord and appreciating the association of the Lord, right? So otherwise, it is not possible. Simply, if we get the association of the Lord, it will be like, Duryodhana having the darshan of the Lord. No point actually. There is no use of such a darshan. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that only those who have completely surpassed the ways of sinful reactions can engage themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this important sloka we had many times discussed here. So that is Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmana te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dritavrita. So like once sinful reactions are completely washed off, to such a person's heart, the Drida of performing devotional service will come. So until then, like we have to struggle hard to remove all the anarthas. It is very, very important. After the stage of anartha nivritti comes nishta. The solid Drida the solid fixture in the devotional service. Solidly we get fixed in the process of devotional service. Until unless we completely destroy all the sinful reactions, that solid determination to do devotional service, the solid determination to attain the lotus feet of the Lord, it doesn't come about, right? So we'll always be compromising. We'll always be saying, okay, chalega and things like that. So it requires a lot of purification of heart, right? So that's why in the initial stages, we may not have that kind of solid determination, but we should have at least a determination to do our 16 rounds properly and study Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita properly and hear them properly. So this determination and hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures every day, these things are very, very important. This ones. Once we do this thing nicely, no, then the purification of heart no properly happens, right? Okay, so the entire Vedic way of ritualistic performances is to put every conditioned soul on the path of piety. By strict adherence to the prescribed principles for all orders of social life, one can attain the qualities of truthfulness, control of mind, control of senses, forbearance, etc., and can be elevated to the plane of rendering pure devotional service to the Lord. Only by such transcendental vision are one's material hankerings fully satisfied. When the Lord was present, persons who were able to satisfy their material hankerings by seeing Him in true perspective were able to go back with Him to His kingdom. But those persons who were unable to see the Lord as He remained unattached to material hankerings and were not able to go back uh, home back to Godhead. So as he remained attached to the material anchorings and were not able to go back home back to Godhead. So those people who were like really appreciate the presence of the Lord and render service to him, they could able to go back. And other people, they couldn't recognize the Lord, they couldn't render service to him, and they were not able to go back to Godhead also. When the Lord passed beyond the vision of all, he did so in his original eternal form, as stated in this verse. The Lord left in his own body. He did not leave his body, as is generally misunderstood by the conditioned souls. This statement defeats the false propaganda of the faithless non devotees that the Lord passed away like an ordinary conditioned soul. The Lord appeared in order to release the world from undue burden of non believing asuras, and after doing this, he disappeared from this world's eyes. Text 12. Yanmatyalila paikam swayoga maya balam darshayatha grihitam vishmapanam swasya cha sauva gridhehe parampadam bhushanangam. The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency Yogamaya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his Sri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments. So this is very nice that when Krishna was decorated with so many ornaments, when he was small child, the mother Yashoda would decorate him with so many ornaments. But it is only the ornaments become more beautiful by coming in touch with Krishna. No, Krishna is the topmost of all the beauty. No, what ornament can actually make him more beautiful? No, only the ornaments get little more glory by coming in touch with Krishna. Right? So the materialistic people, all of us, if we have to look beautiful, we have to wear ornaments. So, but for Krishna, it is completely different. So that is why it is mentioned that Krishna's body is the ornament of all ornaments. No, it is not the ornaments are becoming ornaments of Krishna. So it is like Krishna is the ornaments of all ornaments. Okay. Purport. In conformity with the Vedic hymns, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, the personality of Godhead is more excellent than all other living beings within all the universe in the material world. He is the chief of all living entities. No one can surpass him or be equal to him in wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, or renunciation. When Lord Krishna was within this universe, he seemed to be a human being because he appeared in a manner just suitable for his pastimes in the material world, in the mortal world. He did not appear in the human society in his Vaikuntha feature with four hands because that would not have been suitable for his pastimes. But in spite his appearing as a human being, no one was or is equal to him in any respect in any of the six different opulences. So the six different opulences we had discussed many times. Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasya Shriya Jnana Vairagayosthaiva Shannam Bhagaitangana. So that is Aishwarya, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya, like he's full in all opulences. Samagrasya, Viryasya, in the strength. Yashasha, that is the fame. Shriya, beauty. Jnana, that is the knowledge. And Vairagya, that is the detachment, right? So he was all wealthy, all famous, all powerful, all knowledgeable, all renounced, and everything that you can think of. The Lord was full with all those things. Everyone is more or less proud of his opulence in this world, but when Lord Krishna was in human society, he excelled all his contemporaries within the universe. When the Lord's pastimes are visible to human eyes, they are called prakata, prakata. And when they are not visible, they are called aprakata. No, for us now, when we are describing the pastimes of the Lord, it is all aprakata. No, we are like we are not able to see the prakata lila. We are not able to see the actual pastimes that had happened during his manifest time. So we can only read about the Prakata Leela in the scriptures. So even now the Lord's Leela is going on, Aprakata Leela. The Lord's managing this material world is an Aprakata Leela. And then there are so many ways in which the Lord doesn't show up himself, but then his hand is there. So that is all Aprakata Leela, or that Leela which cannot be seen by us, right? In fact, the Lord's pastimes never stop. Just as the sun never leaves the sky, the sun is always in its right orbit in the sky, but it's sometimes visible and sometimes invisible to our limited vision. Similarly, the pastimes of the Lord are always current in one universe or another. And when Lord Krishna disappears from the transcendental abode of Dwaraka, it was simply a disappearance from the eyes of people there. It should not be misunderstood that his transcendental body, which is just suitable for the pastimes of in the mortal world, is in any way inferior to his different expansions in the Vaikuntha Loka. His body manifested in the material world is transcendental par excellence in the sense that his pastimes in the mortal world excel his mercy displayed in the Vaikuntha Lokas. In the Vaikuntha Lokas, the Lord is merciful towards the liberated or Nitya Mukta living entities, but in his pastimes in the mortal world, he is merciful even to the fallen souls, that is Nitya Baddhas, who are Nitya Baddhas, or conditioned forever. These six excellent opulences, which he displays in the mortal world by the agency of his potency Yoga Maya, are rare even in the Vaikuntha Lokas. All his pastimes were manifested not by the material energy, but by his spiritual energy. The excellence of his Rasa Leela at Vrindavan and his householder life with 16,000 wives is wonderful even for Narayana in Vaikuntha, and is certainly for other living entities within this mortal world. His pastimes are wonderful even for other incarnations of the Lord, such as Sri Rama, Narsimha, and Varaha. His opulence was so super excellent that his pastimes were adored even by the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is not different from Lord Krishna himself. Right? So Krishna himself, in his different forms, in his different avatars. So no, even those forms of the Krishna himself, like Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, so they also hanker to see Krishna Leela. No, that is how Krishna Leela is very, very super excellent. No, because that's the pinnacle, that's the topmost of all the of all the Leelas, or of all the no perception of the Lord, right? Because Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Ete cham sakala pumshah, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Akulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. And then in Brahma Samhita also it is mentioned, Rama Adimurtishu Kala Niyame Natishtan Nana Avataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Right? So in that way, like Krishna is the original person, and his leelas are not only just attracting to the ordinary people, or to the people who are devotees of the Lord, or to the people who are liberated souls in the Vaikuntha, or even to the Supreme Lord's personal expansions as Rama Adimurti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan. So even the way different incarnations of the Lord, everyone gets attracted to Krishna. That is why the Lord has this name Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. He attracts everyone. Okay, text 13. Yaddharma sunor bataraja suye nirikshayedrik swastyayam nam trilokah kartsneya chadyeha gatam vidatur arvak shruto kaushalamitti amantyata amanyata. Okay. All the demigods from upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings. So, not the people like different people are thinking in this way. No, this is the pinnacle of creation of Lord Brahma. Actually, Krishna is not create. No, is one of the creations of Brahma. So, but then, if everything that exists in this world is created by Brahma, so then they're all okay. This is the masterpiece. No, nothing better than this could be created at any time. So that is how Krishna's form was so beautiful. So, but then they did not know that this is beyond Brahma's creation. Okay. Purport. There was nothing comparable to the bodily features of Lord Krishna when he was present in this world. The most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to the blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. But even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of bodily features of Lord Krishna. And this was certified by the demigods, the most beautiful living creatures in the universe. The demigods thought that Lord Krishna, like themselves, was also created by Lord Brahma. But in fact, Brahma was created by Lord Krishna. It was not within the power of Brahma to create the transcendental beauty of the Supreme Lord. No one is the creator of Krishna. Rather, he is the creator of everyone. As he says in Bhagavad Gita 10:8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate. So everything emanates from me. Yashanugraha यशानुराग प्लुतः सरास लीलावलोक प्रतिलब्धमानः व्रजश्रियो दृग्भिर् अनुप्रवृत्त दियो वतस्तु तुः किल कृत्य शेषाः. The damsels of Vraja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchange of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties. Purport. In his boyhood at Vrindavan, Lord Krishna was notorious as a teasing friend in transcendental love to all the girls of his age. All the girls his age. His love for them was so intense that there is no comparison to that ecstasy. And the damsels of Vraja were so much attracted to him that their affection excelled that of the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. Lord Krishna finally admitted his defeat before the transcendental affection of the gopis and declared that he was unable to repay them for their unalloyed affection. Although the gopis were seemingly anguished by the Lord's teasing behavior, when Krishna would leave them, they could not tolerate the separation and used to follow him with their eyes and minds. They were so stunned by the situation that they could not finish their household duties. No one could excel him, even in the dealing of love exchange between the boys and girls. It is said in the revealed scriptures that Lord Krishna personally never goes beyond the boundary of Vrindavan. No, he remains there eternally because of the transcendental love of the inhabitants. Thus, even though he is not visible at present, he is not away from Vrindavan for a moment. No, the Lord always resides in Vrindavan. Text 15. Swashanta Rupeshwa Itarai Swarupair Abhyardhyamaneshwa Anukampitatma Paravaresho Mahadamsha Yukto Hiyajopyajato Bhagavan Yatagnihi. The personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn, but when there is a friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire accompanied by the Mahat Tattva. So when his devotees, pure devotees, are harassed by the non-devotees or by the conditions of the material nature, so immediately the Lord arrives at that point in time. So that's the condition of the Lord's appearance. In fact, when the Devatas were completely harassed by Hiranyakashipu, so they went and prayed to the Lord. The Devatas are also devotees of the Lord, but then they are mixed devotees. They are Mishrit Bhaktas, Mishra Bhakta they are called. So then the Lord told, after their tapasya, the Lord appeared in front of them and he told that, you see, I will appear and I will personally handle the situation, but I will do so only when my pure devotee Prahalad, when he appears and then Hiranyakashipu tortures Prahalad, so that time I will appear and I will save him, right? So it is very important to know that the Lord will not appear for any chota mota people. No, He will appear to save His dear devotees. So, no, definitely He is saving every single living entity. No, every single living entity is always protected by the Lord. But then the personal protection by the Lord will be possible, no, only when we become no a pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj, right? So, or following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. So, that is a very important thing. Purport: the devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful because they have no material hankerings. No, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atayeva Shanta, right? And therefore, he has no lamentation. One who wants to possess also laments when he loses his possessions. No, one who wants to possess also laments when he loses his possession. Devotees have no hankerings for material possessions and no hankerings for spiritual salvation. They are situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a matter of duty, and they do not mind where they are or how they have to act. So the main thing is like they don't have hankerings for material possession, that we can understand. Yeah, devotees, they don't want to have much of material possessions, and they don't have a hankering for spiritual salvation. That means mukti. No, they don't even have hankering for mukti. Why? Because no, what to do after getting liberated? No, render devotional service, and they are already doing devotional service in this material world, so they are not very much eager. No, like to change things, like okay, like if I go back to the spiritual world, it is good. If I'm there here, it is good. I'm always in touch with the Lord, and I am always in serving the Lord, so then that is fine. No, that's why the devotees, no, they don't hanker for both of these things. They're completely shanta. Their only hankering is how to render more and more devotional service to the Lord, right? Karmis, jnanis, and yogis are all hanker to possess some material profit, material or spiritual assets. No, bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, shakali, ashanta. No, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Eva Shanta. So bhukti means material enjoyment. The karmis look for bhukti, and mukti. No, mukti means liberation. Jnanis look for mukti, and siddhi means getting the yogic siddhis. No, that is the aspiration of the yogis. No, all hanker, no, the karmis, jnanis, and yogis, all hanker to possess some material or spiritual assets. No, the jnanis and yogis, no, jnanis, they want to possess some spiritual asset of being liberated from this material plane and transferred to the spiritual world. So, or the spiritual sky, no, that is the Brahma Jyoti. So, but no, because they're hankering after something, they have to be ashanta. They have to be like miserable in their this one. They cannot be peaceful, right? Karmis want material possessions, that is bhukti, and jnanis and yogis want spiritual possessions. But devotees do not want any material or spiritual assets. They want only to serve the Lord anywhere in the material or spiritual worlds that the Lord desires. So wherever the Lord is willing to post the devotee is always ready to do it. And the Lord is always specifically compassionate towards such devotees. The karmis, jnanis, and yogis have their particular mentalities in the modes of nature, and therefore they are called itara or non-devotees. These itaras, including even the yogis, sometimes harass the devotees of the Lord. Durvasa Muni, a great yogi, harassed Maharaj Ambarish because the latter was a great devotee of the Lord. And the great Karmi and Jnani, Hiranyakashipu, even harassed his own Vaishnava son, Prahlad Maharaj. There are many instances of such harassment of the peaceful devotees of the Lord by the itaras. Itara means like uh, those people who are apart from the devotees, no, itara. When such friction takes place, the Lord, out of his great compassion towards his pure devotees, appear in person, accompanied by his plenary portion controlling the Mahatattva. The Lord is everywhere. Okay, Mahatattva means the material creation, the sum total of material creation. And now the Lord, when he appears with all his powers controlling everything. No, he is not appearing as a person who is controlled by the material nature. No, he appears as the controller of the material nature. The Lord is everywhere in both the material and spiritual domains, and he appears for the sake of his devotees when there is a friction between his devotee and the non devotee. As electricity is generated by friction of matter anywhere and everywhere, the Lord, being all pervading, appears because of the friction of devotees and non devotees. When Lord Krishna appears on a mission, all his plenary portions accompany him. When he appeared as the son of Vasudev, there was difference of opinion about his incarnation. Some said he is supreme personality of Godhead. Some said he is incarnation of Narayana, and others said he is incarnation of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. But actually, he is the original supreme personality of Godhead, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, and Narayana, the Purushas, and all other incarnations accompany him to function as different parts of his pastimes. Right? So, no, somebody may have this one confusion. What is this? All these things are same. It looks like he is supreme personality of Godhead. He is Narayana, and he is the incarnation of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So he is Supreme Personality of Godhead means the original person, Krishna. And he is incarnation of Narayana means, no, Narayana is expansion of Krishna, and somebody is incarnation of Narayana means expansion of expansion. And then this one, like incarnation of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu means, no, Krishna's expansion is Narayana, and Narayana's expansion is like Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and his avatar means like, no, Kala Vishesho, no. So that is the, it is like portions of the Lord. So it is not like that. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, he is the Swayam Bhagavan, right? And Narayana and all other Purusha avatars, so all of them are acting as servants of Krishna. No, though they are the same personality, but still they assist in the Mula Rupa, that is Krishna Rupa, and they assist the Krishna's pastimes in the world. Mahad Amsha Yuktaha indicates that he is accompanied by the Purushas who create the Mahat Tattva. It is confirmed in the Vedic hymns, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanum. Lord Krishna appeared just like electricity when there was friction between Kamsa and Vasudev and Ugrasen. Vasudev and Ugrasen were the Lord's devotees, and Kamsa, a representative of the Karmis and Jnanis, was a non-devotee. Krishna, as he is compared to the sun. He first appeared from the ocean of the womb of Devaki, and gradually he satisfied the inhabitants of the place surrounding Mathura, just as the sun enlivens the lotus flower in the morning after gradually rising to the meridian of Dwaraka. After gradually rising to the meridian of Dwaraka, the Lord sets like the sun, placing everything in darkness, as described by Uddhava. So very amazing metaphor that is used, of the sun. Now, when the sun, rises, it actually blossoms the lotus flowers. That's compared to the Vrindavan pastimes. And then he comes to the meridian, scorching bright, and everything that is inauspicious is destroyed. When he is there in the center, when he is there in the meridian, and then, while setting, the sun places everything in the darkness, and then he sets. The sun sets. In the same way, the Krishna, when he came about, first he blossomed his very amazing pastimes of Vrindavan. Then he came about in the meridian and destroyed all the inauspicious things. And then when he left, it is complete darkness. Everyone was left in ignorance. And it is mentioned that Srimad Bhagavatam, it rises when Krishna departs from this world. Krishna also appears in the another way, that is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand Krishna as he is. This is a literature to know about Krishna in detail, right? Okay, so we will stop here for today's discussion. Thank you all very much for joining every day for this Bhagavatam discussion. I'm very, very indebted to all of you. Because of you, I am also getting this regulated study of Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.